Take whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
The movie Invictus came out in 2009 and stars Morgan Freeman as Nelson Mandela and Matt Damon as Francis Pienaar, the South African rugby team captain.
It tells the story of the South African rugby team post-apartheid, the famous Springboks, and how Nelson Mandela worked to unite South Africa behind the primarily English team playing a primarily English sport. Emma, if South Africa had abolished apartheid but still had social inequalities, how did the movie portray these social inequalities?
Social inequalities were expressed in the movie when Nelson Mandela was watching a rugby match and said, "All the whites cheer for South Africa and all the blacks cheer for England," which actually happened because apartheid caused racial segregation.
As well as Africans cheering for a different team, weren't there also issues with land segregation that continued post-apartheid?
Yeah, land distribution was at the heart of post-apartheid social tension.
All of the whites are cheering for South Africa. All of the blacks are cheering for England.
The movie illustrated that fact correctly. And isn't it true that it was harder for African natives to find work in South Africa?
Yeah, it was. The women normally took jobs as housekeepers, even though they could go to the university. Also, African natives couldn't vote before Nelson Mandela was voted president.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah.
The first rule of rugby is you can only pass the ball backwards or sideways. Alright? Shall we practice that?
Yes.
Yeah. Alright. Form a line.
Let's go, boys. Here we go.
Ready? Okay, pass. Pass.
Yeah, put your hands up, don't throw it up. Come here.
Africans and whites were normally segregated in sports. As you can see from that clip, it was mostly true.
In South Africa, the Africans generally played soccer and the whites played rugby. It was said in the movie that soccer is a gentleman's game played by hooligans, while rugby is a hooligan's game played by gentlemen.
An exception would be Chester Williams, who is an African native who played on the South African team. And it wasn't actual law, it was just what normal people followed.
What was actual law, however, was that African natives could not vote during apartheid, which was a social inequality mentioned during the beginning of the movie.
The movie was mainly historically accurate, but it had an inaccurate twist to the end. The last scene was too positive about the social issues post-apartheid.
Yeah, when I saw that, it was confusing because they made it seem like a really happy situation, but social inequality still existed.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Although the movie seemed to end on a positive note, South Africa still struggles with social inequalities, with land distribution being the most important.
What is South Africa like today?
Well, there are still major issues with land distribution due to apartheid. But everybody can get an education, and the government keeps progressing to eliminate all consequences from apartheid.
A wave of attacks on foreigners in South Africa has left at least 22 dead. Are immigrants being scapegoated by South Africa's poor for their economic woes?
Hamba